Good morning and welcome to episode 3. In this episode, we're going to be talking about opportunities. There are opportunities everywhere, especially when you know what you're looking for. So, if you did the exercise in video 2 today, right now, you should have a much clearer picture of the type of opportunities that are going to suit you. And I'm going to try and go through them. I've got my book here with me. So I suggest you just pick this up. Of course, I gotta sell myself at every chance I get, and you're gonna have to figure out how to do that too. But for real, in the book, and if you get the digital copy, you'll have the live links. But in my book, I made an extra special effort to list all the resources and different places that you can go to, so you don't have to go and search it all and find it and take hours and hours and hours out of your day. If you're like me and you have kids, man, you don't have hours, man. You're working at 5 o'clock in the morning, or you're plugging your kids in to play video games so you can finish that assignment. So because my kids are at home all the time and they can't really socialize very much, and we also live out in the country, so seeing people, even socially responsibly, from a distance, can be a little bit difficult. So one of the things I hear all the time is, "Mom, I'm bored. Stop working." So for me, the opportunities that give me a lot of flexibility are really the best. Because to be honest, even though I really love my work, I love doing fun stuff with my kids, like making rainbow in a glass, or making home gardens, or playing darts together, visiting a museum, or my personal favorite, going away on family vacation. I would much rather be doing those things. Selling your own product versus manufacturing versus representing a different company, right? So now you know by now that I make hand jam, which is the callus care for rock climbers, and I sell Tupperware, Avon, and Epicure. So I think I'm in a pretty good position to explain the difference between the two. Now, a lot of people try and get into cosmetic manufacturing. And it is a great business. Like, I think the last time I did my business plan on this, it represented something like a $33 billion a year industry just in Canada alone. And that was just like pharmaceutical, not like, like the stuff that you would buy in pharmacies, not even professional lines or, it's an old statistic. It's about 10 years old probably, the last time I checked that stat. But I mean, it's a significant number. So that being said, it's also a very competitive market. Everybody and their grandmother has, their version of the Burt's Bees, lip balm, skincare, bath salts or whatever. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't room for somebody else. It just means that the competition is fierce. And if you think you're going to try and get into pharmacies like, Shoppers Drug Mart and Jean Coutu in Quebec or whatever, it's a very complicated game to get into. It requires, one, that you have liability insurance. Okay, that your product is registered with Health Canada. You have to be able to submit your formula. Your packaging has to be to a certain standard. Your labels have to be to a certain standard. You have to have best before dates on your product. You have to register with a US with a UPC, right? So that's the little code, the barcode. So you've got to register your product with that. And then to get into a place like one of these pharmacies, it's not like you call the rep and say, "Hey, you want to take in my product?" No, you actually have to pay for shelf space. So you actually have to rent space on these shelves before you can get your product in. So your product's got to be pretty special, pretty well tested before you get it in there. Has to be well established, and it's not something that you can really do from home. But for example, let's say you come up with a niche product or a boutique product. If you want to define your target market as beauty salons, okay, or a product for men's beards, or in my case, I'm making a callus conditioner that is very different than other, hand products for hardworking hands on the market. And I have a very niche clientele for that, right? So I actually don't need to sell a lot of bottles to be profitable. I just have to have enough people who really like it and want to spread the word of mouth. So whatever your formula is, you have to think about all of those things: packaging, formula, where the difference is. If you're going to do a small scale manufacturing, at least for cosmetic products, you don't necessarily have to have such a heavy liability insurance. You can probably formulate and bottle from home, assuming that your setup is clean and sanitizable. And when you distribute to your sellers, you don't normally have to pay for space. Like most of the rock climbing gyms don't charge me to sell my product there. They call me and say, "Hey, Sue, I need 10 bottles. It's the beginning of the season. Can you send me some? I need them by September 1st." So I send out the bottles, and then, renew them around sometime around November, December, and then, getting it again in March. So about every 3 to 4 months, we're calling them and following up. Okay, so that's for manufacturing cosmetics, but you can manufacture a bunch of things. For example, I have a client, and she developed, in French it's called a déclencheur. It's something to help fishing, right? So it holds your fishing line and then releases the line when the fish bites, and it helps to hook. It helps to hook the fish onto the line. So this is injection molding, injection mold, so she has these things made up, produced outside. And then, I did all of the graphic design work for her and packaging, and she does drop shipment. So she runs everything off of her website. She's an avid fisherman. She's she's a big part of the fishing community, and she sells her product word of mouth, and every year she sells a couple hundred units, and it's a little side gig, for her. And it's a great little product. It's really fantastic. So, you have to resource your stuff. You need to check out your competition. You need to check your price point, make sure that you are competitive. So again, this is an example of how my clients represent a little bit of who I am and the things that I like to do with my kids and with our time. So maybe you've decided that manufacturing is not for you, and you want to become a rep for a reputable company, like Avon, Tupperware, or Epicure. And what's great about them is that they usually provide everything you need, including a website and support in terms of a coach. Some of the tools that I really like are the apps that you can download onto your phone that allow you to manage your business, see what's going on, access, support. And some of that sales support comes in the form of catalogs or social media shares that are already made for you. So you don't have to do the graphic design work. You don't have to take care of any of the printing stuff. And it's a really polished and finished professional look. Okay, so even though these companies do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, you still need to treat it like a business. So regardless of whether you go the manufacturing route or you decide to be an independent sales rep for another company, I'd like to bring you back to what I repeat over and over in the book is, how simple can you make it? Just, focus on keeping it simple. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my God, Ronan, you're so good.